Hi, my voice is back to normal. This is Allison Backus Troy, and this is my latest video in my YouTube channel and Facebook page called The Shared World, which is an exploration of just the humanities in everyday life, in real life. And this is my first video in a while just because we had been dealing with some sickness at my house, just like, regular cold stuff. But if you saw my last video, I sounded not video worthy. So I wanted to wait until I was totally healed and able to speak before I made my next video. And what I wanted to do today was to give an update on this book, Michael Levenson's The Humanities in Everyday Life, and how I'm going to kind of approach making content for this page using this book, and also to announce kind of another series in on this channel to celebrate the fall and to celebrate autumn. As you can see, I have my autumn display here with my pumpkins. This is a little squash I grew in my garden this year, the only squash that survived. My very handy oversized Target fall mug, my Trader Joe's pumpkins, celebration of all fall things here. So what I wanted to do is to start a series where I would be reading poems on my channel that just dealt with the fall and dealt with autumn. I think that something that's important to me when I think about the humanities in everyday life is to continue to offer and share what I find that's interesting and beautiful and provoking and complex, and to offer it in a way where you can enjoy it and participate in it. And I think that hearing people read poems out loud is obviously a very important but basic part of that humanities exposure. So what I want to be doing throughout the season of fall is to just be reciting some poems that I've found that deal with different themes and different circumstances that relate to this really beautiful season, the season of saying goodbye, the season of starting anew, the season of brightness and beauty, and also preparation for winter, and to explore the ways in which contemporary and ancient poets have explored kind of the emotional legacies of this season. So I wanted to just offer that along with my pumpkins and to give you just an update on this book. So when I started this series, I was really excited about kind of doing videos on this book, on Michael Levenson's The Humanities in Everyday Life, and I still am. It's a really rich but dense book written by somebody who, is a scholar in talking about the humanities at a university level, talking about what it means to be a scholar of the humanities. And so there's a lot of really, for someone like myself who is both, as Levenson would say, like a hobbyist in the humanities, but also a scholar, somebody who has been trained in in writing and in literature and philosophy, but also like enjoys participating in those things. I find myself really finding a lot of richness in this book, but it's been kind of tricky to figure out how to present that in a video format. It is really dense, and I've been trying to kind of figure out over my kind of sick leave, like, how is it that I present this book? So I'm still trying to figure it out. I think that I might try to play with some other formats in kind of presenting some of the information in this book, and also presenting some of the topics that he talks about. He spends a lot of time talking about Wikipedia and historical reenactors and book clubs and collectors of various kinds, and how the people who participate in these things are the people who are doing humanities in real life. They're the ones who are being archivists, and they're the people who are preserving tradition, they're reinterpreting tradition. They're often doing this with great knowledge and great curiosity and great dedication. They just don't happen to have the scholarly training behind them to give them a degree. And so there's just a lot of really interesting stuff here, but I'm trying to figure out the best way to present it. So this is still here. If you follow my Facebook page, which for me has been one of the easier things to keep up, I often will, I post lots of different things on that page that relate to the humanities in everyday life, but I'm going to, I think, start posting like more quotes from this book to start some different discussions. So I know a lot of you who follow this page are people who are, in the same situation as me, where you've been trained in studying the humanities at some level, and you also still really just love the humanities as your own hobby and pursuit. And so I think there's a lot in here that's really interesting. I'm going to keep trying to find the best way to share it. So the first poem that I wanted to offer in this poetry series for the fall is a poem by Elizabeth Alexander. Elizabeth Alexander is a contemporary American poet. She is probably the most famous for writing and reciting a poem for President Barack Obama's inauguration, when he was inaugurated to be president during his first term. And this poem is a little late because it's no longer the Equinox. But this poem is called Equinox, and I think it is just a really stunning and breathtaking, but also very human way of entering into this season where, we are surrounded by such beauty and by such anticipation. I think especially here in Houston, where we're it's like 90 degrees and everyone is like anxiously looking at the leaves like, oh, is something going to change? Is something going to let up? Is something going to release? There's a certain similar kind of anticipation in this poem. And when you hear it, you'll see what that anticipation is about. So, FYI, what I'm drinking is my Equal Exchange iced tea. I love Equal Exchange. I love, that's where we get all our coffee and all our tea is buying it in bulk from their website. And this is just iced tea from Equal Exchange, all fair trade, small farmers support. They've been doing it for like 30 years. It's a really wonderful organization to check out if you're interested in learning about that. So, so there's that plug. But this poem, like I said, is called Equinox, and I wanted to offer it in this series. So this is Equinox by Elizabeth Alexander. Now is the time of year when bees are wild and eccentric. They fly fast and in cramped loop-de-loops, dive-bomb clusters of conversants in the bright, late September out of doors. I have found their dried husks in my clothes. They are dervishes because they are dying. One last sting, a warm place to squeeze a drop of venom or of honey. After the stroke we thought would be her last, my grandmother came back, reared back, and slapped a nurse across the face. Then she stood up, walked outside, and lay down in the snow. 2 years later, there is no other way to say, we are waiting. She is silent, light as an empty hive, and she is breathing. She is silent, light as an empty hive, and she is breathing. Where I found this poem, I follow on Facebook the Academy of American Poets, and if you're looking for a place to just kind of, be exposed to lots of different poems that follow lots of different, themes of the day, things going on in current events, things going on with the seasons, this is a really wonderful place to follow. They update several times a day. I have discovered a lot of poems and poets through this page. I mean, the Poetry Foundation is wonderful as well. But this is where I found this poem, is the Academy of American Poets, and that is Equinox by Elizabeth Alexander. So if you're able to find it and read it again and again and again, there will be lines that stand out to you. There'll be images that you will feel kind of reopening to you, and I hope that this is a poem that that really sticks with you, because even in its focus on death and dying, there's also a focus on the husk of beauty that is pointed out in the death of the bees and in the waiting for the death of her grandmother. Okay, so I hope that you are doing well. I hope that you stay away from sickness, and that whatever part of the country that you live in, wherever you are from, and whatever you are, whatever your life looks like right now, that you are able to enter this season with anticipation and with looking for the beauty that is around you.